Morning, everybody. Are you ready for episode 2? In this episode, we're going to talk about our decision to use a caravan, why we chose Baja Amigos, and how it all turned out. So stay tuned for more. I recently got an email from a friend who questioned our decision to travel to Baja. They said, both quite brave in venturing into Mexico, especially with all the news of drug cartels, armed police, being bribed, and other scary events. Other friends said we were crazy to make this trip. But on the other hand, we knew people that have traveled a lot lately in Mexico and have told us that all of the concerns are really overblown. Ellen and I traveled extensively in Mexico all through our 20s, 30s, and 40s, but we have found that lately, as we become more people of a certain age, that we're a little more cautious in how we travel. And this would be our first time in Mexico with an RV, so we had a lot of questions about that. How would driving be? How about border crossings and police inspections? And what would camping be like? Would we find safe places to camp? And what would happen if we broke down while traveling through Mexico? We started exploring the idea of going with a group, and in particular started researching caravans. You know, safety in numbers and all that. We didn't know anyone who had done this, and so we went to the internet and started looking at options. We looked at the pros and cons of going with a caravan versus going on our own or with friends. We found several options. For example, there are clubs and Facebook pages that allow you to connect up with other people that want to do the same thing. You can do this for free or relatively cheap. There are also a number of commercial ventures that do this sort of thing, taking groups through Mexico and particularly into Baja. One company, Baja Amigos, really appealed to us. So we started a deep dive trying to figure out all about Baja Amigos. We particularly liked the fact that they limited the size of the caravan to only 6 RVs plus the wagon master. We liked the price. It was around $3,000, but that included the services of the wagon master, all of your camping, a few of your meals, walkie-talkies. It also included a number of excursions. Like any tour group, we worried that our group might not be compatible. But that sure wasn't the case with our group, and by the end of the trip, we all felt like one big family. I give big kudos to our wagon masters, Janet and Larry, for setting a tone that made for a really fun but professional environment. They were really terrific and looked out for us and took care of all our needs. They even had a towed vehicle that they made available to us once we made camp in case we wanted to go to the pharmacy, bank, shopping, or even just to tour around town. They arranged for a large number of excursions, but most of all, they kept us safe while we were traveling. We all were given walkie-talkies, and we followed a particular order. Janet and Larry, our wagon masters, would make sure that we knew if there was a big rig coming, if there were people on the road or animals on the road, if there were potholes, road construction, or if the road narrowed up. So it was really comforting to be able to know that ahead we had to slow down because there were potholes or a very narrow road.
We're all going to turn right here. Flashers on. Still clear in front of us.
They also helped us through the various military inspections, search procedures, and border crossings. We really appreciated that. It was very helpful to know that they were on the other end of the walkie-talkie when you had soldiers searching your trailer. Janet knew just enough Spanish to be able to effectively deal with anything that came up. For example, at one military checkpoint, the soldiers there did try to extract bribes, money, or alcohol, and Janet made it very clear to them that there were no mordidas in our tour group, anybody in the caravan, and she kept with us on the radio saying, "No mordida," as they searched our vehicles. We were really fortunate that most everybody in our caravan was approximately in the same age group. We had heard that large, vast differences in ages can sometimes result in differing interests and make a caravan life challenging, but we were really fortunate. We also didn't have any high maintenance types. Everybody was really chill, and by the end we were like one big family, everybody helping everybody else. Except for just a few days, we usually drove less than 5 hours a day, and because we made early starts, we were in camp early afternoon. This gave us the whole afternoon for an excursion or an activity, which was really nice. But let's stick a pin in that for now, because we're going to talk about driving, camping, and excursions in future videos. All in all, we were really glad that we chose Baja Amigos and that we decided to go with a caravan. For some folks, sticking to a schedule like a caravan has might feel a little bit restrictive. For example, we would have loved a couple of extra days at Playa Santispac, but we had reservations at a campground in La Paz that's really hard to get a reservation at, and it was really nice, so we needed to move on. Would we do it again? In a minute. Would we travel without a caravan? I think we might. If we had 2 or 3 RVs all traveling together, good friends, we'd look out for each other. I think we learned enough on this trip to feel confident that we could do much of this again. Now, I might not go all the way down to the tip of Baja in 28 days, but I would certainly take some shorter forays into Mexico. I've included a link down below in the description for Baja Amigos so you can read all about them. In our next episode, we're going to really drill down and talk about driving. Talk turkey, what was the driving really like, what were the road conditions really like, and how it went for us. In the meantime, we appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe, click like, click on the little bell if you want to be notified, and we'll see you next time. Adios.